the shareholders were complicit in the build-up, in the fact that the oligarchs and the movements of this world were allowed to get away with what they did.
Yes, I think absolutely. But when one talks about shareholders, of course, what we're very largely talking about is not private individuals licking the cigar ash on their roses. You're talking about the pension funds, and the pension funds, of course, belong to the same world as the people whose actions they are voting on. And I think they're very easily suppalled, and there now is a great feeling of guilt in such organizations, the National Association of Pension Funds, who feel that we must take a more robust attitude and make sure it doesn't happen again, so that how long they will follow through with that. There is this new code of stewardship which is supposed to ginger up the shareholders and make sure that they do exercise proper control and that they are at long range able to influence the strategy of companies.
John Stratton, you haven't really concentrated on the political oligarchs, because what has happened in the two main parties is that the concentration of power at the top has meant that half a dozen people in each party are determining who the parliamentary candidates are. From that pool become the MPs, and from that MPs become the government. And as a result, the membership of those parties has dropped dramatically, and so the political oligarchs have now become dependent on the financial oligarchs. The Conservative Party depends on a small group of wealthy individuals, and the Labour Party on a small group of major trade union leaders. And so how will you ever break that particular bond?
That would have been, if my talk had gone on for another half an hour, what you've just said, would have said exactly that the gathering, which has happened in our lifetime, of all power into the centre, and the destruction of the power of local parties has been catastrophic for the health of democracy. And even when it's supposedly being revived by having things like open primaries, and anyone can go along and vote for their candidate. Of course, this is a charade, because the candidates that they are allowed to go along and vote for have been hand-picked and usually to exclude local candidates, and so this will not certainly do. But I mean, I think that everything you say, John, has produced this effect that the death of political parties, which between them had a membership of 10 million in about 1950, about 1 in 5 members of the population, more really, about 1 in 4 members of the adult population belong to a political party. It's now more like 1 in 50 or 1 in 100. Belonging to a political party now is an eccentric perversion only indulged in by anoraks and fanatics. And this has been a tragedy, but it does, as you say, link in with the financial oligarchy. So that at one point, the only person contributing to this, when it was very bad, where the Conservative Party was Stuart Wheeler. And I noticed he popped up the other day and said, when I give £5 million, I expect the party to take notice of what I say. Well, that is an oligarchy. I don't know what it is.
Orwell's profession and yours is claimed to be in crisis, or at least the media industry is in crisis. It's doing a lot less work in terms of scrutiny than perhaps it once did, both in politics and in finance. Is there a danger in this critic of localism and decentralization that all you do is fragment the oligarchy, make it a hydra, and diminish yet further the scrutiny that is applied?
Well, there's a danger, but I think it's so far from happening that I don't think it's an immediate danger. But certainly the decline of journalistic scrutiny, and not only scrutiny, but record that increasingly the so-called serious papers devote less and less time to recording events, particularly those events which can't be turned in terms of a human interest story or a narrative of some kind. So that, I mean, this is lovely for the oligarchs, whether commercial or political. And it's interesting in terms of the banking crash that the more astute financial journalists were perfectly well aware that these models were not working and were heading for disaster. And would every now and then, if you read carefully, would say, you know, I don't like the look of the way Northern Rock's going. But not without any sort of passion or alarm. And so that's another factor.